My topic is the new geopolitics, basically. So what this story should be about? First of all, if we say geopolitics, we mean civilizations or sort of civilizations clash in terms of Huntington, for example. But what is basically civilization? What should be clashed, if so? So, for my opinion, the civilization is made, first of all, by its legal system. Not very much nowadays religions count or ideology or even economy, but the legal system is the crucial point. And then that's the map of modern legal systems in the world. And then if you check it, you can see, let me show you. You can see there are several main systems. This red one is the Anglo-Saxon common law area. Anglo-Saxon countries like Northern America, Australia, plus a few very important countries nowadays like India and Pakistan. They have some local system as well, but basically the whole political system is based on Anglo-Saxon common law. India, Pakistan, Malaysia, even Israel, and then some other less important countries. So that's the area of civilizational area of common law. Another very important is a so-called civil law or Roman Germanic kind of law, came from the ancient Rome. And the areas of civil law is most of all Europe, that's green color, Russia and ex-Soviet countries, South America, and some other less important countries. And partly China as well, and Japan and Korea, Southern Korea, first of all. That's two like Western legal systems which predominate the world nowadays. Plus we have some local systems like Islamic Sharia or some other legal systems, but basically the civilization is made mostly by those bigger law families. Speaking about libertarianism, we shouldn't forget that the ideology of libertarianism has also the Anglo-Saxon root, most of all. Why? Because the system of common law allowed this development of free thinking and free understanding. And it's not just coincidence that the most progressive ways of culture and business as well are coming historically from Britain, from British culture. And we have the North American projection and Australia and other countries, but basically the system of common law is something very important. And speaking about geopolitics, I would say this area of common law is that's one bigger geopolitical unit nowadays. And second biggest unit is the area of civil law. That means Europe, Russia, and yes, South America as a part of European culture mostly. But Russia and Europe are divided also because of historical, political wind, so to say, because of historical precedents. Now, we see the reality is changing dramatically. It started, everything, this new start was made by Brexit, I believe, because the Britain said, yes, we do not like to be the part of this bureaucratical Europe. It's also the clash of law system, of legal systems, because if you come back to the the modern reality, you see that the trade, international trade, is regulated by Anglo-Saxon common law, and civil affairs are regulating by civil continental law. And that's why we have a high court in London for economical business regulation, and we have a high court in Hague for other regulations. And maybe not many people know that this sort of Anglo-Saxon economy is forbidden in the continental Europe by law. So you can't run business in the way you are running it here in Britain or in Northern America. It's really forbidden because it's considered to be very risky. It's very risky. That's why more bureaucratic regulations, like more power of state and more power for bureaucracy. This is one of the reasons, for my opinion. This was one of the reasons for Brexit. And so the British people say, yes, we don't like to be the part of these regulations in the continental Europe. We want to be more free. We are accustomed, according to our historical system, to take decisions in a way we think it's correct. So this Brexit starts a new clash in Europe somehow. Now the question is, what's going to be next? So the next very important point was the changing of political system in the United States, that happened yesterday. So we see the new American administration probably also is looking to build a new political reality, focusing on the United States itself, of course, but nevertheless, the Washington should decide what to do in terms of international politics as well. So we faced a new reality, and I believe in the frame of this new reality, we can really avoid or transform this old geopolitical contradiction between Atlanticism and Eurasianism. Because Atlanticism and Eurasianism, that's like a contradiction between two geopolitical systems, like world island, so to say, which should be like America, and world continent, Eurasia. But what is North America, big island we know? That's Anglo-Saxon civilization, most of all. First of all, United States, Canada, and plus Britain as a partner. But what is Eurasia? Eurasia is not united. The main power in Eurasia nowadays is China. And China, so we have this contradiction between, first of all, United States and China. And this is what the new American administration is trying to regulate somehow, to find a solution, how to oppose China economically, politically, and geopolitically. And what should be the role of Europe? What should be the role of Russia in this new international affairs? And I believe the time is coming to build a new civilizational blocks or for new geopolitics. And new geopolitics should be based on the North. What do I mean by the North? With a process of melting of Arctic ice, the northern maritime route is getting to be more and more open. I show you now another picture. This is the northern area. You see all these routes in the Arctic. The ice is melting, and the routes are getting more and more open. And that gives a new possibility to develop all these northern areas. Continental areas like Northern America and Northern Eurasia and Europe, plus the Arctic Ocean itself, the bottom of the ocean, with all kinds of resources. So that's absolutely the new trend in the world economy, might be. Plus, the northern route itself. One second. Sorry, how can I move?
Which page? I'm not. Okay, I can't see your hand. That's right. That's page 7.
More. Oh.
Oh, this one around here.
Sorry, because I should show you the map. No, not this one.
What page?
I don't remember which.
Okay.
I make it in that way.
Okay, go off another one.
Go.
Okay.
More. This.
Yeah.
Okay. So coming back to this geopolitical format. Now we see maritime routes around the Eurasia. So nowadays, the main trade route is the red one from, let's say, from Britain to Japan. And the blue one is the northern route, which is 3 times shorter, should be 3 times cheaper, and probably many times safer. No pirates, no terrorism around, no problem areas, nothing. Just a very, very safe route. That's one point. Another point is, I show you another diagram with the role of China in international trade. Now we see another map. The point is that we have this blue maritime routes and red continental route, so-called Silky Way. Silky Way, this is the main nerve in the continental Eurasia. And sponsoring Silky Way, we sponsor China, we sponsor Chinese economy, we sponsor Chinese politics, because the China is the main advancer of all this continental route. And as you know, the first train from China came already to London with goods, with everything. And but the China is not just the biggest economy. China is also the biggest problem in the modern reality, because it's not just a question of population. It's a question of different mentality, the question of communist dictatorship in China, and then ecological problems. If some of you have been in China, you can just check what's up in China. And this is pretty scary reality which we might face in the West if we are accustomed to our Western standard of life. So that's why this northern maritime route is some alternative against the Chinese dominance in economy and also in politics. But in order to build this northern geopolitical frame, we need a partnership with Russia, of course. And then another question is coming. What is Russia? Isn't Russia another dictatorship? Because the Chinese, they picked up Russian communism. They even picked up a Soviet legal system in many cases. And they are a very heavy partner of modern Russia. But this question is not so just easy, because Russia really, could Russia be the partner of the West, and first of all, partner of this common law civilization? I believe yes, because of the common history and also the common legal history. I show you. So historically, England and Russia are connected by the northern civilization of, you can say, Varangians or Vikings or Normans, let's say Normans. So Normans, the main land of Normans was the Scandinavia, Denmark, historically. And then Normans moved westwards and eastwards. This is what you have. You see this blue line is the border of the ancient kingdom of Ivar Vidfamne, the northern king of the 7th century, 7th, 8th century. So we see the Normans, they brought the basics for legal system to Britain from one side, and to Gardarics, or the ancient Russia, to other side. And historically, the old British law and old Scandinavian law and old Russian law are connected, because this is the same legal system, the same like root, same civilization. So we have already this ancient unity between Britain and Russia, because the Russian state was originated from this area. You see Estonia, and then Gardariki, and part of Latvia. So that's the historical core of Russian state. And plus Northern Europe, yes, the part Germany, Scandinavia, and everything. So that's like a basic matrix for the northern civilization. And then later, the Normans or Vikings, they went westwards up to North America, they conquered North America, and moved more and more till Alaska. And the Eastern Normans, or Russians, they moved eastwards, conquering Northern Eurasia also. And these two tribes of Vikings, so to say, they met in Alaska. Yep. So that's the trade routes made by Normans. So we see this basic unity between Northern America and Northern Eurasia. More, the great British scientist, mystics, and the founder of modern geopolitics, John Dee, had a special geopolitical plan, what he called the Greenland. Greenland for him was just not the island of Greenland, but it was like Northern Eurasia and Northern America, green countries. So green area, Northern Hemisphere. And John Dee proposed a marriage between Queen Elizabeth and Ivan the Terrible in order to bring these two countries under one crown and to build the basic unity. But the pirate, Francis Drake, jumped into these plans, and he persuaded Elizabeth not to listen to Dee, but to focus on the southern seas. And that was that move, the British geopolitics of southern seas started. And as a result, we got the big game in Eurasia, contradiction between Moscow and London. But basically, London and Moscow, they always just controlled continental Europe from two sides. And then the Second World War showed it again, like Moscow and London. So they were winners of the situation. But because of the polar ice, the northern trade routes were closed. And then that's why the Southern Sea were looking like more profitable at the time for Britain. But nowadays, because of the climate change and global warming, the northern ice are melting, and these northern routes are getting to be more and more open. And according to special statistics, the trade exchange and trade volume should increase for 50 times in the recent years, the next years, because that's a really profitable new way of international trade. And also, so I believe, coming back to the new geopolitics, we have a new possibility for connecting back this Norman heritage under one, I wouldn't say crown, but reunited, and to establish a new form of global unity between Northern America, Northern Europe, like Britain, Scandinavia, and Northern Eurasia as Russia, and maybe Japan as well as a so to say enemy of China. So that's like my new global concern, and maybe if you have more questions, we can discuss it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Vladimir.